everybody, and good Friday to you here on this Good Friday. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you for the Weekend Big Show, powered by Law Dog Sports. And we are here to talk sports with you for the next hour-ish. Myself and my partner, longtime partner here on the show, Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. And it is a potential stormy Easter weekend here in the Sooner State. And Jeremy, you're off this weekend, I would imagine, and so that means you don't have to deal. Well, Sunday you might have to be dealing with some delays and things there at the Willie.
Always can't wait.
I mean, and I'll say this, and I worked out there with you for 6 years, and I, just to say we were in the customer service industry out there, but. I look back and I just see, and I haven't been a frequent traveler. I don't fly a ton or anything like that. But I look back and I just say, when you fly, you take the risk of being delayed. You're not 100% guaranteed that you're going to get where you intend to get at the time you intend to get there. So roll with it.
Not to go all Peter Griffin on this, but last night, I just grind my gears right now.
You know what really grinds my gears?
I sat and watched the video feed of a plane sitting on the tarmac with the jetway attached to it.
Yeah.
For half an hour delayed because a couple fighter jockeys from over at Tinker were doing touch and goes on the main runway.
Okay. So
yeah.
So
I couldn't leave.
Oh, man. Well, what's odd is, and I hate to reveal this on the air, I guess, but last night I was out in my yard and it had gotten dark, and out here in Western Oklahoma, I mean, stars are just beautiful. What I thought, I see this line of what I thought was stars just moving to a southeasterly direction,
and that was a wedge-shaped UFO.
It was a long line. I counted 14. And they were all, bright light and in formation. It was a straight line formation, but they were just trailing southeasterly from out here in Western Oklahoma. And I just watched them, and I thought, well, surely to God, that's just some training jets, or so. Maybe that's what that was, or something.
I don't know. Do you remember anything after that? Did you lose some time? Do you have a suspicious bump anywhere in your body?
There's a bright light. Kind of a pain in my right abdomen.
Have you seen the movie Fire in the Sky?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Anyways, we are streaming live on our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports. And if you hear this on the podcast pages, please be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channels. We want to interact with you. Comment line is open, so feel free to jump in with us and comment. I try to put out the notice, at least on our secret text thread, to all of our faithful listeners that we will be on live today. But Jeremy, it's Good Friday. It's Easter weekend. A lot of families getting together. I just want to say, and I know we kind of used to say this in sarcasm, but I don't make policy, and I don't have power and control of influence of anything, but I do send thoughts and prayers to the folks down at Florida State, and what an awful situation down there yesterday. Just heard about it on the news last night when I came in and sat down and kind of got caught up. But the world's gone crazy, buddy. And I mean,
we have a mental health epidemic in the world, this country especially, but the world.
Exactly. And when I was a younger law enforcement officer, and took my gun belt off at night, I put it away to where, when my kids were little, they would have no opportunity to find what that was or where it was. But heard that this kid's mom was a deputy there, and he used her service weapon, I think, or something of that nature. I mean, it just honestly, Jeremy, in this day and time, the script of how these go down just gets something new thrown in it every time. I don't get it, but
I know
it is a tragedy, and I do feel bad. And honestly, I mean, there's so many sides to this discussion. I really try to avoid it myself, and I'm kind of a wait and see guy.
I'm just waiting to see who the girl with the Starbucks cup was that was showing videos of the down people.
Oh
Just
Lord.
I want to know that person needs to be exposed.
Yeah.
Let's get her, whoever that, it was a woman,
She's
because you could see the hand.
and and I'll
Um,
just say this. I mean and this goes with every single tragedy or some incident that we have in this world nowadays is journalism has just fallen to become showing people's reactions on TikTok. That's all it's become. So
Small J journalism.
yeah, and that's why I don't subscribe. But we do send thoughts and prayers to the families of those folks down there in Tallahassee that are dealing with tragedy today, and just senseless, really senseless. But here on Good Friday, we celebrate Jesus de Nazareth, and it's his weekend, so I'm going to try to fast today.
Too
you
late for me. I already had the eggs, so
Okay. Well, I haven't been good about,
I'm
red
sure
meat on
Jesus will understand
Fridays.
about keeping my gains. So
Yeah, that's right. Jesus would want you to get gains.
that's right.
So Chewy's down with the protein plan. But anyways, happy Easter weekend to everybody and those that are going to celebrate it with family and honestly, I like the fact that one benefit that we have of polarization, Jeremy, is that the people who are so anti-Easter really do a good job of educating people that hey, Easter's about way more than an Easter bunny because when they're just screaming through their teeth about a weekend devoted to Christ, those people that aren't protesting, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this is about Jesus. So let's
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, last
education.
year it was uh, never mind. Remember they made Easter Sunday Transgender Visibility Day.
It was. I forgot about that.
But
Yeah.
but this administration now wants to make the Monday after Easter a national holiday. Okay, we could do that.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not opposed to that.
yeah. Or Good Friday. Make Good Friday. I guess I don't know. School may be out here my way today. I'm not sure, but
Uh, we're out today. I'm not sure
okay.
about you
So there
guys.
might be schools out for Good Friday. Um, and on that tick, just before we get into sports, I saw an interesting story this morning about the Shroud of Turin and how they're using science to analyze that more. So interesting stuff. But crucifixion and resurrection. It's it's a good thing, and we.
It's good to believe in something that's
That's right. I can
good
tell you
and
this.
gives you hope.
Yeah,
Um, there's not a whole lot going around the world today. It's gone nuts. The whole
no,
world is
yeah,
crazy since,
and
what'd you say,
I mean, and
2019, 2020. We've lost it.
it's pretty crazy.
We've lost the plot.
I could go into a wormhole off of some discussions I had this week about AI with a buddy of mine, but we'll just steer clear of that and stick with sports. But anyway, thank you, Jesus.
I've seen a lot of movies how it's a bad thing. I'll stick with that.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, sports is on tap this weekend, and like I said, there's some storm chances throughout the Midwest. So, baseball and the outdoor sports could be through some restructuring or rescheduling. We'll see what a lot of that goes on. But the Oklahoma City Thunder are scheduled to begin their playoff run in 2025 against either the Dallas Mavericks or the Memphis Grizzlies. That game will be played this evening going forward. And I don't know, Jeremy, I know the Mavs don't have Luca anymore, but they still have PJ Washington. And
That's where I was going to go with that. That man shoots 78% from the corner against Oklahoma City. They don't have Luka anymore. They don't have Kyrie, so that's helpful. They're pretty thin, especially in their front line.
yeah.
And obviously less talented in the backcourt, but they still have PJ Washington, and he will still just throw it in from anywhere
Was it
against Oklahoma
Dante
City.
Exum that was just on fire against the Kings the other night?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched a bit of that second half, and by the time I got tuned in, I think it was an 18 to 20 point lead, and then the thing about getting down that bad, and we've seen the Thunder do it at times, but you know you cut it to 12, and then you're still 12 down, and then
Yeah.
you really have to shut down a team. You have to go full Kelvin Sampson to
Well,
get
if your
back
best
in a
player
game
is a
like that.
post player and a guy who's only really good from the mid range, you're kind of stuck.
And I'll tell you this much. It's funny after watching that, Jeremy, and obviously the Mavericks defeated the Sacramento Kings and eliminated them. But I'll say this: it was 120-106, and that's probably pretty telling about the game. I'll just say this: I love the mid. I love a player with a mid range game, but when you're absolutely no threat whatsoever to even attempt a three, you're
Yeah.
not helping. I mean, that's that. I mean, when I say I'm a big fan of the mid range game, I'm a fan of a guy who can hit outside and mid range. I mean,
Sure.
you've got to have that in your repertoire, or else you're just a 6'6",
One trick
Bill,
pony.
Bill Lane Beer, and
Yeah.
Bill Lane Beer shot threes.
You
Uh,
know, Domas Sabonis deserves better, but he got sent to basketball purgatory. The
yeah,
Siberia of the NBA, Sacramento, California. It's a tough place. They've never. When's the last time they've gotten it right?
they had it right in '02 with Mike Bibby or was it Mike Bibby and
Bibby, Webster,
Chris
or Chris Webber,
Weber, and then
Vlade Divac.
yeah, yeah, and they got cheated out of that playoff run so that the Lakers
Uh-huh.
could get in.
Big shot Bob.
Yep. And so, anyways, but yeah, I mean, all this talk about Dallas, losing money and you know, holding a gun to the Texas legislature's head to move them to Vegas. I mean, what's going on in Sacramento? I mean, they are completely irrelevant.
Well, yeah, it's just one of those cities that they're never they're never going to win it. They're never going to be good. They're always going to be that type of play-in team that is in
Yeah,
Cancun by the time the play-in tournament's over. And I hate the play-in tournament. I don't, it's unnecessary
it's bad. Well, and
because when's the last time an 8 seed beat a one? It
was it
was
the
Dallas. It
Seattle?
was
Oh,
Dallas got beat by I can't remember, but yeah.
see, when I think about it, and I think it was a 5 game series, it was when Denver was a 1 seed, and I think Seattle was a 1 seed, and Denver was an 8, and it was the one with Dikembe laying on the floor celebrating
Yes.
after they beat the Sonics. Would that have been the glove back then? Yeah, because the
I'm
Rain
pretty
Man was
sure it
on
would have
that
been.
team. Uh,
Would that have been Vinny Baker or the Rain Man, Sean Kemp, Father of the Year?
yeah, I can't remember for sure, but yeah, you're right. I mean, and I've heard proponents here as of late saying these first round matchups need to be 5 games because
They didn't
if you're
they
one, huh?
didn't they used to be?
They did. I think that one that I'm talking about, where the Nuggets defeated the
Oh,
Sonics in the first round, I think that was a 5 game series.
so the Heat beat the Bucks in 2023
Mm.
in 8-1. I don't remember that. And the Knicks beat
So that
the
was
Heat
that
in 99.
was that off of the Bucks title run,
I think so.
and
And
the
then the
Heat
Nuggets beat the Sonics in 94.
and the Heat had obviously Jimmy Butler on that squad.
Jimmy Buckets, Tyler
Had a
Hero,
bio.
Bam.
That
Yeah.
was a game where a hero kind of made his money, or that
Yep.
was a playoff run where he made his. They went to the conference finals that season, if I remember right.
They did.
I think so. Anyway,
Yes. Did they go to the what year did they go to the finals? Was that wasn't the Bubble Gangster season, was it?
sheesh. Now that you ask, I'm so adept at keeping up with Heat's playoff runs, but
I know, right?
but so anyways, the Mavs and the Grizzlies play tonight. Obviously, Ja Morant for Memphis, a key factor in that one. 23.2 points per game he's averaging, and then probably a lot of it. And here's the injury report, Jeremy. Anthony Davis, game time decision, groin injury. And I'm not
Yeah.
laughing I'm not laughing at the fact that he's injured. I'm just, yeah, I guess I'm laughing at the fact that
I've seen that man turn an ankle in midair. We're talking about like final destination injuries.
Mhm.
He's off his feet, and all of a sudden you see the ankle just tweak, like someone just reached out and grabbed it.
Yeah,
He's a spectacular, weird injury away from just being done.
he's like the Slender Man or something. I mean, it's like,
He's so fragile.
yeah.
I just don't
Uh,
get it.
Game is in Memphis, and the Grizz are a 6.5 point favorite. The over under is 221.5. Last time they met up, Memphis beat them on April 13th. That's just earlier this week, 132-97.
In
But
the grind house.
yeah, I would. You think Zach Randolph shows up in Memphis for games just to be appeared?
I don't know. They should ask him to suit up.
I was going to say, I mean, throw it out there. He can block out.
Yeah.
Boy, he really gave the Thunder a lot of fits back in the day.
Yeah, until that the last series they played with that group when he took a swing at Steven Adams.
Bad idea.
Yeah, Adams came through the airport one day. One of my coworkers was chopping it up with him a second for a bit. And he said, "Hey, what did you say to Zebo?" It's like, I didn't say anything to him, mate.
Mate.
Sure you didn't.
If I remember, Adams used to pull up to the Willie in like a big Dodge pickup. He wasn't he's too big for a Ferrari guy or anything like
Yeah, he'd pull up a big Dodge pickup and sporting Realtree and flip flops.
yeah, he was. When you look back on Steven Adams and what he looked like when he arrived in Oklahoma City, he went to Pitt, right?
Yeah, he went to Pitt.
He went to Pitt. He gets drafted. He comes to Oklahoma City. He had the flat top and clean shaven.
Oh yeah,
Looked like a kid.
had a
And now
haircut
he's
you could
this
set a clock to.
crazy samurai dude. But anyways, he's missed, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But anyways, I'll probably take the Grizz to kind of finish this off and end the Mavs run because, like you said, they've got some guys. The Mavs obviously have some guys that can score. Clay and PJ Washington, and then the Exum went off the other night.
I always forget about Clay being there. It's so
It is
weird to me
it's
that
a
he's
bit
there.
forgettable. And so,
Yeah.
but I think they were pretty happy for a spell there with Max Christie after the trade.
Mm-hmm.
But I nothing on that roster other than how they handle Anthony Davis and what his role is, and who can get offense going. I would probably go, because I'm telling you, Desmond Bain is a scary individual. I mean, he's just Bain is the proper name for that guy.
Well, then you had to go into that building, which is not it's
No,
not an easy place to play. Those
no,
people
they're
are nuts down. And you're in Memphis, so there's just danger lurking around every corner.
they love their Grizz, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, that will determine who the Thunder face. I think Jeremy. I mean, honestly, and you're our Thunder fan here on the broadcast. Looking at it, I mean, you have to be confident that this team can handle. And when I say handle, I don't mean go out and handle, but I mean, a series. You face ups and downs, you face adversity, you have momentum swings, things like that. I think this is probably a team that's geared to. Don't know that they'll sweep like they did New Orleans last year, but I mean, should breeze through their first round.
No, it's a team that has taken care of business all year. And Dagnall said it, and I agree with it. The playoffs are a reflection of how you handled your regular season. If you go out in the regular season, you take care of business, you don't let teams off the mat when you have them down, that usually translates over to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And rest versus rust, they've been off a week. Hopefully they're sharp
Yeah.
Might not be, but at least he'll be rested and healthy.
Well,
Probably the healthiest they've been all year.
true. You start game one at home, and so you've got that going for you. You're not on the road. You're going to face a team that will have played two play-in games. I mean,
Yeah, and leave it to the NBA. Give the 1 seed the 12:30 Easter Sunday tip.
yeah,
Really? Not even
yeah.
like mid-afternoon or prime time, just the 12:30 p.m. Okay,
Well, and
cool.
also, I mean, if the weather trend continues, I mean, the actual storms can probably have a factor on the psyche of some of these players that haven't necessarily been through the weather in the springtime of Oklahoma. So, yeah, I
Need
don't know.
to throw
That's
them on the 15th floor of the
Skirvin.
Skirvin.
Yeah, the storms in the haunted hotel have become
Yes.
too much for the Grizzlies. But no, it'll be an interesting series, and obviously, they've got to contain Ja Morant. He's kind of the engine that makes that team go. But like I said, they're going to need to look out for some others as well. And honestly, Jeremy, if I sit here and told you that I watched an entire Memphis Grizzlies game this season, I would be a bold-faced liar. But I see the highlights and I see the tail end of games a lot of nights. But it does seem to me like if you can contain Ja Morant, that's going to be a big step. And you would have to think that the Thunder have the horses to do just exactly that.
Oh, they definitely do. They've got 3 or 4 guys that he's right in their wheelhouse.
Hmm.
Dort, Cason Wallace, Caruso, SGA is
Yeah.
an extremely underrated defender. I think he's top 5 in offensive and defensive rating in the league. They're geared to guard perimeter players. They can keep guys in front of them, which is something they haven't been able to do in the past. When you watch them play series against the Utah teams with Donovan Mitchell,
Yeah.
he could get to the basket at will. It's tougher now because they have guys that are excellent laterally, keep guys in front of them,
Hmm.
and they have a lot of fouls to give at that position. And you got AJ Mitchell that can come off the bench and give you big defensive minutes.
Well,
It's
and this is a Grizzlies team that fell into that eighth seed, but man, it was such a cluster there.
yeah, they were at the 2 for
Yeah, they
a
were.
good while during the season and just trended down second half of the year.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, they're one of those teams, and we saw this on the whole celebration tour. But teams like them and Minnesota and Houston, there was just no way they were going to get past L.A. on a national broadcast night. It just wasn't
No,
going to happen.
no, not with and I bet if you look at those box scores, that free throw disparity is shocking.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
And I don't have them in front of me right now. I'm only going with what I know the NBA likes to do with LA.
Allah.
Let's stop the clock and get them on the line. Give them some free points.
Yeah, yeah. I mean it. Well, I'm not going to go into it today because we'll see what happens. But so other series starting tomorrow in the West will be the Lakers and the Timberwolves, which that's a 3 versus 6, and then a lot of talk about the Nuggets and Clippers. Questions I have is two things. You know, what's the let me look see what the injury status is on Jamal Murray, and then also what kind of player are you going to get from James Harden?
Yeah.
I mean,
Is
I mean,
playoff Harden going to make an appearance early?
yeah, I mean that is pretty much that if you're an analyst of that series, that's isn't that kind of the whole gist of the what ifs?
Right. Yeah, it's Harden. He has not been a good playoff performer over his career outside of a very small sample size when he was with Oklahoma City and what the year that they made it to the final almost made it to the
Yeah,
finals, and of course Chris Paul pulled a hammy and that was that.
yeah, the Golden State series.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Harden's at 22 points a
9 for
game.
73
Yeah.
from three.
Yeah. Oh, wow. But, just hearing the talking heads go over this one, I mean, people have really been wanting to give the Clippers the benefit of the doubt in several potential series. And so,
Yes, they have. It's almost like nothing. It's almost like their struggles during the regular season never happened, and they're gonna just waltz through the playoffs,
yeah,
which is weird. I get it. They've got Kawhi. They've got Harden.
I think right
More
now
Kawhi than
everybody's
Harden.
highest on Zubats.
Yeah, yeah. I heard a lot of Zubox love. Is Kawhi going to continue to load manage in the playoffs?
uh, I mean, it's time for you to lace them up, Pally.
Yeah, I know.
That series starts in Denver, and game one, the current spread is 2.5 to the Nuggets. The last matchup, January 8th, between those two teams, Denver won that one 126 to 103. But that was in the Mike Malone era, so a whole different ball game back then.
Just so weird. I can't believe they fired him.
And then tomorrow, also the Timberwolves travel to the. I'm still going to call it the Forum because I don't care what they call it now. The LA Forum. Is it
Crypto Center?
Yeah, there you go.
It was Staples before.
They're going to Inglewood to play in the Forum. But anyways, that one is LA by 4.5 in game one. The over-under's 216 and a hook. And the last time they played, February 27th, guess who won?
Minnesota.
No, LA. 111-102. Like I said, you're not going to tune in to an LA national telecast against any of those first four seeds and see them drop one. I mean, you notice trends over time.
I'm not terribly interested in any of the East playoff series, but except for one.
Yes.
Bucks Pacers. Damian Lillard cleared from his blood clot issue, so he is back. He'll be playing. That could be a huge boost to the Bucks. I don't know a lot about the Pacers.
Yeah.
Who even plays for the Pacers? Reggie Miller's still there?
That's a
Rick Smits.
That's a
Rick Smits anchor in the paint.
Oh, what's the kid's name? He's a little point guard.
Oh, Tyrese Halliburton.
Halliburton, yeah. He makes that engine go.
Okay.
And that was the game. You remember the game before LA lost on the buzzer beater by Zach Giddey against the Bulls? They went down the wire with the Pacers, I think the night before. And that was a game where Rick Carlisle had pulled Halliburton out for defensive purposes. They got a possession. I think they needed a score, and he didn't get him back in the game. And I don't know if they got a shot off. I mean, it is bad. And went to message boards or social media, man, Pacers fans were just roasting Carlisle, and probably deservedly so.
Yeah,
it's sad that I'm old enough to remember when Rick Carlisle played for University of Virginia with Ralph Sampson. That's bad.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I do. So, anyways,
I remember Ralph Sampson playing for the Rockets.
Yeah, he was a Cavalier before that. Played in 2 straight Final Fours, I think. Lost to
okay.
I know he lost to Georgetown one year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, 7'4". But anyway, so NBA playoffs get started in earnest playing game tonight, and then they get started in earnest tomorrow. And then, I'll just say this: don't take this like me chipping on your team, but I don't know that the set is ready to advance the Thunder to a conference finals this season. I'll just say.
Yeah, well, we'll see. They're definitely good enough.
Oh yeah, when I say that, I don't say it like. I mean, and just to play devil's advocate, SGA's not having one of his typical games. Now, I mean, when you say typical game, that sounds ridiculous because the fact that he's 30. I mean, he's good for 30 on a questionable night. And I don't think his shot volume's all that bad. You've probably studied that a little bit more than I have, but it's in the playoffs, and we hear Barkley say this all the time, it's always about the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to wonder, will there be, because I know Jalen Williams, is your number two. I mean, I'll just say this, and I say this begrudgingly. Is that correct
I
usage?
don't know. I don't know what the context is.
It's going to be a matter of if those 3 through 5 guys are ready for the moment. I'll just say that.
Yeah, we'll see. They should be. I mean, they had a shot at it last year, right?
I never felt like they were going to get over the hump against Dallas. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well,
I never felt like they were going to get that going after they dropped game 1 or game 2 in OKC.
yeah, you're not going to have Luka camped out at the free throw line
Well,
for
no, you're
45
not.
minutes either.
No. And if it's and I'm not even necessarily talking about this first round series, Jeremy. I'm talking
Yeah.
about, going into the next round where it would be likely who, Denver or LA Clippers.
No. Yeah, it'd be Clippers or Denver
Yeah.
possibly.
I mean,
And
I only say this because I think that the NBA is a media driven entity, and Denver's got the Joker, and then
yeah, and you don't. And what's so bad about this, and we've discussed this before, the lack of coverage for a team that ran away and hid.
Yeah.
About what, March,
February 14th.
February, from the rest of the pack. They
Yeah.
have more double-digit wins than the second-place team has wins.
Yeah.
They're never on national TV. It's a product that, your average NBA fan just hasn't got to witness.
Well, I'll give.
And I think, and a lot of that, and it's Major League Baseball marketing.
Mhm.
They don't market their stars. They don't care. It's like, we're going to care about the Dodgers. We're going to care about the Yankees, and screw the other 28 teams.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of, and the NBA is falling down that hole. We're so ensconced in watching LeBron flop around the floor like a fish out of water on national television, and you got really good young teams that aren't getting the spotlight when they should be getting the spotlight, because that's how you grow your sport, because these teams are going to be together for a little bit. LeBron's on his way out.
And that's what gets me so irate in a way, because when I talk to young people, it's always about, these new guys. I mean, if you talk to a young person about music, of course, there's a lot of young people that love our music, but when you talk about music, it's what's new, it's who's fresh, all this stuff. And then, when it comes to the National Basketball Association, it's like, well, we've got to hang on to these 3 or 4 guys who've been doing it for 20 years for dear life. There's nothing else. Man, move on. I mean, there's a lot else. And so much of that, the reason I say this, and I'm really been avoiding conspiracy theories, especially after seeing the line of star lights last night. But anyways, I mean, and the officials have so much to do with that. I mean, it just really just goes all full entailed with how the whole game plan is operated. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But we said this before and I'll repeat it again, but you as a Thunder fan realize this. The rest of the world should, and I think there are some people out there kind of sounding the horn, is this team is fun to watch. They do everything antithesis of what people are bitching about with the league right now.
And it's not just the team, it's the entire organization from top to bottom. They do things the right way. And it's community. They put a great product on the floor. It's a good fan experience in the arena. And we're still watching LA. We're still watching, the Knicks were on national television more than the Thunder this year. Who cares about the Knicks?
They're so mid.
Nobody gives a rip about the Knicks.
Yeah.
What kind of star power do the Heat have?
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm sorry,
what
right
is
now,
going on?
I would have to say that flipping through some of the programming, It seems like Minnesota, Memphis, and not Houston so much. But I mean, if I'm just kind of going through my head of the games that I can remember, kind of wait and see type deal on inside, on the TNT broadcast or ESPN, it's and I would bet the Cavs have gone through a bit of this in the Eastern too.
Definitely.
So sorry, I took my glasses off. I'm noticing a lot of glare there. Basically, you can see my whole screen through the glass. I need my producer from Right Radio to come set me up a broadcast.
Wow.
But anyway, so just it'll be interesting and it's going to be fun. Did you? I think I tagged you in the tweet about the Heat. If they win tonight against the Hawks, the Thunder get one of their first round picks, and then if they lose against the Hawks, the Thunder still get a first round pick.
Well, if the Heat lose, OKC has their unprotected 2026 one. If the Heat win, they get the 15th pick in this year's draft.
Yeah. So, wow, Presty.
Yeah.
And,
hey, next year would be a great year to have that unprotected 2026.
Sure. Yeah. So anyways, but it'll be interesting. And tonight will be the broadcast of the play-in game for the Western Conference. And that will be Friday night. That's on ESPN. So did you hear Barkley say that he would only be on whatever show he's on ESPN? He won't go on all them other dumbass shows.
Which show?
He was on Inside the NBA, and he was talking about going to the mothership next season.
Yes.
And I think Awful Announcing shared it, and he basically said, when I go to ESPN, I'm only going to do my show. I'm not going to be on all those other dumbass shows.
He's not going to go on there with Stephen A.
Oh no, he's not down for that. Hey, Mike Busso checking in, saying good morning, hi
Boos.
And hope you're doing okay here on Good Friday. College football, Jeremy, real quick. Rest in peace goes out to former Oklahoma and Dallas Cowboys strength and conditioning trainer Joe Jurasik. I remembered the name, all the headlines about his passing. I think he said he was 67. All the headlines of his passing say that he was the Dallas Cowboys strength and conditioning coach. He was hired by Barry and then actually lasted through, I think, Parcells and Campo, maybe.
Yes.
And maybe, after Barry was the, who was the guy?
Barry, then I think Chan Gailey.
Chan Gailey. Yeah, that's who it was. So anyways, Joe Jurasik, I remember him during the tail end of the Gary Gibbs years. He was at Texas Tech before that. I didn't see what he passed away from, but he was 67. That's still pretty young, especially for a guy who, obviously fitness was a part of his repertoire throughout his life. But I remember the name, and I remembered. I'm trying to remember who was before him.
Pete Martinelli.
Martinelli.
Yep.
Okay. And then
Prince of a Man.
Yeah.
He's still kicking around somewhere. I used to see him at the gym every day. Pete's a great dude.
All right, so Pete Martinelli, then Jurasik, and then so Blake would Jurasik have left after Blake? No.
Pete retired. Jurasik was hired by Switzer.
Switzer or Gibbs?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Switzer's last year.
I thought they said he was 93 to 97 or 98.
I'll have to effort that. I can't remember when.
I had to go to his LinkedIn page because apparently Wikipedia had not pounced.
That's probably right. I don't remember when.
I was just trying to remember if there was anybody in that last year or so of John Blake that was not him before Schmitty came in with Stoops.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe not.
See. Oh, you went to his LinkedIn page?
Yeah, his LinkedIn page had the dates on him.
Okay.
He was Texas Tech, I think, late 80s until 93. And then I want to say, what's amazing to me is the seasons after Barry won the Super Bowl with Dallas. I remember him being there, but I don't remember. I don't remember the exact years that he was there afterwards. That he he
was there for 14 years.
At
and
Dallas.
he retired in Yeah, he retired in 2010.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Well, okay, so let's see. Okay, I guess he worked for Martinelli.
Okay.
Um, okay, yeah, that's why I remember him
Played
being
and
there.
graduated from University of New Mexico, but
Okay,
it's
yeah, and that's where Pete's from, is New Mexico.
okay. It was a name that when I saw it pop up on the timeline, I was like, I remember that guy. So, um,
Yeah, I
I
think we
mean,
talked about him last week. One of
really,
them. I don't know. I was talking to somebody about it. Don't remember. It's been a long week, man.
it it kind of has, hasn't it? Uh,
Yeah.
I got to go to the city on Tuesday, called a game for Weatherford soccer at Heritage Hall, and
Oh boy. Big city.
yours truly actually used the phrase "ghetto bird" on the air.
Oh my God. Are
I
y'all
said, "Well,
are you calling the baseball game at Okarchi today?
no, no."
Oh, okay.
Who's Okarchi taking on?
I thought they were playing Weatherford.
They might be. We've got there's a guy who's kind of doing some baseball,
Oh, okay.
not necessarily road trips.
Oh, okay.
Usually it's home games, and then we'll probably jump in on some playoffs for the
Ah,
Eagles.
okay.
But yeah, man, I called a game. I called an Okarchi game back in March. Solid Class A squad, and they were just fresh out of basketball too. So, but no, so we're on the air, and we're having to sit outside. If I hadn't have been, if they'd let me in the press box, I probably wouldn't have gone there. But we're sitting there, and I hear a helicopter in the background. And I look up, right, and there's a chopper, and it's dusk, and I'm like, well, it wasn't the police. It wasn't the OCPD helicopter. It was some medical chopper or something. I was like, well, up here in North Oklahoma City, we very well could see the ghetto bird flying over here before long. And when we lived in Oklahoma City, I told my wife, I said, if they're hovering right above the house where we lived over by OCU, they were frequent flyers. And if they're hovering directly over the house, we're safe. It's when you look back in either direction to about a quarter mile. That's when they're zooming in around your place potentially. So with the FLIR, but anyway, so yeah, I came to the city, called a couple of Weatherford soccer games, and then I think I'll be in Newcastle next Friday. So, anyways, college football also OU really got some stir going with their portal additions this week. Jeremy, a big time running back from uh, Cal, who,
Yep.
according to what I saw on Jaden Ott is his name.
Hmm.
According to what I saw on the social medias, uh, he's currently by CBS ranked as the number one running back in the SEC.
I know. There are
Number one in front of Caden Durham of LSU.
there are SEC Twitter pages that follow the entire league that are already predicting Oklahoma has the top offense in the SEC going next season.
Now, how can that
I
be?
don't
Because Arch.
right. And well, I mean, they had a down year, and that's all of the university's history, right? Was that one bad year of offense. Never had a good offense before, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Never. They weren't
uh,
a top five offense the season directly before last year, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they've always been terrible.
And the season before,
Anyways.
the only times they were that bad was when Dylan Gabriel got cheap shotted by TCU and was out.
Oh, TCU, come on. Yeah, they hurt every team's quarterback that year and made a playoff run only to get
You got
blown
that
out in
right,
the
pal.
title game. I think they played like 9 backup quarterbacks that year, and
Oh
every
yeah,
one of
yeah.
them gone down in that game from a
They were
headshot.
specializing in the IR.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, Oklahoma just and then two big lineman pickups as well. The funny thing I saw, and you got the names on those. I'm not going to attempt it.
Jake Michla is
Michaela.
the interior offensive lineman from Stanford.
Hmm.
He's started 16 games over the last 2 years, 6'5", 300 pounds. Big, smart kid, obviously. You get Stanford admission standards. So this guy's probably going to be one of the smartest guys on the team, along with
Never
his former
hurts.
teammate. Regardless, what's the kid's name? Oh heck, they got a tackle from Stanford as well. So
Yeah.
the O line room got smarter. We'll see if that translates to production.
Well, and the whole I guess those guys at Cal and Stanford decided, if we have to travel east to play, we might as well only have a 2-hour trip instead of a 6-hour trip.
Oh, that's just bonkers. Yeah, college football needs to go regional again,
I just
among a million other changes that need to be made. Just make it like it was in 1986. Let's just get back to that.
just give Cal and Stanford a recast and let them join Washington State and Oregon State.
Put them in the Ivy League.
Make the Pac-12 again. I mean, so
Right. Yes.
I don't know. It's just it's beneficial for OU. There's still so much going on. I know that a couple of the guys on social media talking about OU said prepare yourself because the portal giveth and the portal taketh away, or something of that nature.
And
But
that's
I don't
and that's
know
fine.
that I don't know that anybody on that roster will make as big a splash unless Mateer bailed. I don't know.
I think Sam Franklin left. I was like, oh, I didn't know he had eligibility left.
Well, they're talking about Tatum and Sawchuck, obviously.
Well, I mean, both are great kids.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum has a ton of potential. We've seen that guy before. His name was Keith Ford.
Yeah.
Comes in, one of the top running backs in the country, starts fumbling the football. He hurts you more than he helps you.
I don't know
He
that
moves
you
on
recover
somewhere
from that
else.
either. I mean,
No,
ball security.
yeah, it's a thing. When it starts happening, I've only seen one guy who had ball security issues really fix it and go on to have a great career, and that was Tiki Barber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he was a fumbler in the NFL, and he fixed that in the NFL. It's just maybe he's just that guy.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to say, and I know he showed flashes last season, but
Oh, he's explosive.
I think
He's
the Ott kid showed a lot of flashes as well. So,
yeah.
but no, it'll be interesting, and so much going on with regards to the portal, and now you're starting to see. I think OSU picked up somebody, maybe an edge rusher. I think from South Carolina. I think Texas
And
is.
OU is going to go after a tight end,
Mm-hmm.
defensive line depth, maybe another receiver.
Yeah.
I think that's it, but Nagy's doing a heck of a job already. He's the one making personnel decisions when Brent's not sitting over there collecting defensive backs from the portal.
Boy, you know what? That would be a tell, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be a pretty strong tell. Yeah, I'm with you. Bless his heart. Talking about the portal, obviously this week has been all the drama with Nico Iamaleava, and we kind of talked about him a little bit towards the end of last week's episode, as I think Tennessee was about to give him the total hook. You talk about pulling a Dennis Schroeder. He bet on himself.
Fumbled the bag.
And he bet wrong. I mean, he's going to be in Westwood, for what, half of what he was making at Knoxville?
Yeah. What can he tell the kids? Like, listen, you can leave. I'll just develop one of these other guys into what I've done. I mean, Heupel has developed Hendon Hooker. He developed. He had a hand in Dylan Gabriel. He
didn't need Milton,
Central Florida. Joe Milton. Drew Lock.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys got. I mean, I don't know if DG is going to get drafted.
They're NFL quality players.
4 of those guys are in the league that
Yeah.
Heupel had a hand in developing. I watched a lot of Nico tape, and the numbers aren't there to back up a pay raise.
Yeah,
they're not.
No, and
college football is stupid. And I think they say he's might clear $900,000 if he goes to UCLA. That's still not a done deal.
Taxes will be higher.
Yeah, that's what I think he went for. 1.5 is what the reported NIL offer was. I don't think he's actually signed anything. But at this point, I don't know who else would take a flyer on him. Belichick wanted no part of it. If Muleshoe thinks you're damaged goods, then you might just be damaged goods.
Yeah. Seems like for some reason I just thought Oregon's he's that type of guy who just kind of falls off the radar or just pulls a boner and then ends up at Oregon State.
Well,
Corvallis
what's weird is Dan Lanning is reportedly the one who called Heupel and dimed him out.
yeah.
So I wonder if Big Nick Iamaleava contacted Lanning and offered Nico's services for a $4 million bag.
If Dad's doing the dealing and he's not a professional agent, you've got a lot of issue. I mean,
you are probably, and even the panacea of integrity, Urban Meyer says Tennessee is screwed.
Even he's taking the moral high ground.
Yeah, I mean, he had murderers and thieves on that Florida team, but he's got the moral superiority to call out Nico.
Does Mrs. Meyer still let him sleep in the house, or is he? I
don't know.
Is he doghouse material?
He might have a twin bed in the back room of that bar he owns in Columbus.
What a wanker! I can't.
Yeah, he's a tool.
Speaking of tools, and I say this basically based on my flexible opinion of this person. A lot of chatter this week, and what's funny is a lot of chatter from the Buff Nation, I guess is how I wrote it down on the topic list.
Yep.
Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders getting their numbers retired.
Ridiculous.
By the University of Colorado. I'll say this. It's not my fight. It's not like anything I care about. I can kind of smirk at it. I can kind of laugh about it, but it's nothing I'm going to go start a whole argument with it. But I noticed on Twitter this week, Darren Shiverini, Colorado receiver, just twisting off on it.
Well, it's ridiculous. There have been great players at Colorado in the past that have not had their jerseys retired.
Yeah.
Chad Brown, Cordell Stewart, Rashawn Salam. Guys.
I think Salam is retired.
Okay, so
he is.
Okay, so you got your Heisman winner is retired, and okay, you want to retire Travis Hunter's number? He won a Heisman there. Cool. I get that.
Can you give it 5 years? Can you let him get through the league? I mean,
yeah, let him get drafted. Let him have a couple years in the league. Then halftime of the homecoming game, trot him out there, retire his jersey. Mm-hmm. All good. You don't have to. You can take the number out of circulation. Don't let anybody wear it until you retire. Fine.
Yeah.
But Shedeur, I mean, there have been better quarterbacks there.
Cordell. I saw a press conference.
Salinesi won more games there.
Coy Detmer.
Coy
Detmer win a conference championship.
Joel Klatt.
I mean, and that's who I need to check out to see what I know. Klatt won't come out against him. He's not going to take that.
He's part of Buff Nation.
But I mean, I just thought it was funny that Shiverini was poking at it because you
got a quarterback that went 13-12 and you're retiring his number.
Lost in the Alamo Bowl to the Mormons.
Yep.
Just didn't make a bowl the season before. I mean, you look at it, and that first season they got so much pub. And I think even Connard put out there, because Connard's the one that shared, Connard Carr, our super fan, he's the one that shared the post of Deion's press conference where he's talking about, he's catching so much heat because his name is Sanders. Well, he's getting his jersey retired because his name is Sanders.
Yeah.
That's basically the key. But, looking at it from outside, like I said, I never care about Colorado football. Last time I cared about Colorado football was when OU played them in 2002 at Reliance Stadium in Houston, and it was the Nate Hibble debacle postgame.
The Houston fiasco.
The Houston fiasco. And that was the last time. And really, I guess I could say there was, I think in the 2005 season, maybe the 2004 season. What season? Was it 2004? That South Florida came into Norman and kind of gave OU a hard time. Markel Blackwell and then a big linebacker, Mawanuka, I think his name was. But I remember that year Colorado came into town and the local sports radio had Gary Barnett on the air for an interview, and he's talking about their schedule and their record and how they don't get to schedule the softies that OU does. They have to lure all the biggest programs into Boulder, to get games, period, and this and that. And I've always thought Barnett was a wanker, but anyways, that's the
So
last.
did the NCAA.
Yeah, exactly. That was the last time I remember Colorado even being a blip on my radar.
Well, they were bad for a very long time. I mean, bad hires,
They're
not putting
bad
any
now.
money in.
They're not great.
Well, yeah,
No.
but they're relevant because of a name.
Yeah, and you let social media, let the 24-hour sports news cycle run with all that. I don't care, but at the end of the day, I don't care who they retire and who they don't. I just thought it was pretty interesting that a former player and probably several others really coming out, and therein lies that divide between old school and new school. I mean, that's where they're going with it.
Can you imagine if schools like Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, retired numbers?
Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean,
you'd be running guys out there with blank jerseys.
If that's the case,
there wouldn't be any left.
You could run out.
Yeah.
And and that's what I always thought. Now tell me this: does Oklahoma do this? Do they retire jerseys and not the numbers? Because I want to say it seems like Roy Williams has a retired jersey, but not 38.
Right. I'm not sure about that. And of all the stupid, dumb things the Dallas Cowboys do, they do this right. They have a ring of honor.
Yeah.
But they don't retire numbers.
Yeah, there you go.
That's fine. Put a picture of their jersey up in the rafters with their number.
But they should have never fired Tom Landry, I'll tell you that much.
That's right.
All right, so Buff Nation up in arms, folks up in arms around Buff Nation. Did you see Corso is calling it a game?
Yeah, man. I watched the highlights of the headgear segment. So many great ones. And the two best ones were in this state when he grabbed the schooner, stuck it on his head, and then fired that shotgun off. And
I tell you, and I bet if you got him off to the side and asked him and got him to be honest, he would probably tell you that has to be his favorite headgear, pick of all, because he gets to shoot a gun,
hell yeah,
a simulated gun.
Or what about when he let the baby buffalo out and with the Ralphie head on? That was pretty funny.
Well, and then he's cursed on the air.
Mm-hmm.
I think he and Bill Murray did a culturally insensitive bit with Florida State. It's been loads of fun. It's funny because we've talked about this guy at length, and apparently there's no mention to reach out to him because they're sold solely on ever since Kirk Herbstreit walked through the door. But he got the start of the whole thing with Craig James, didn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
I don't think he did. I think the headgear pick started back in the Craig James era.
Was it 94 when they started the headgear?
I think so. Is it 94 or 98? I can't remember for sure.
Somebody posted the first headgear thing. I don't know if it was the first one. It could have been mistaken when he pulled out the Brutus, the Buckeye head.
Yeah. That
was Herbstreit sitting next to him.
Yeah.
So maybe it started. I don't remember, man. That was 30 years ago.
What's going to be? Did you see which game will be his final one? I know it's first.
It's early. I did see it. I don't remember what it is. I'll effort that real quick.
Yeah, I'm looking myself, but Corso, he's another one. As I talked about Coach Prime, I've
it'll be the week one.
Mm-hmm. Is it a Notre Dame game?
I think so.
I want to say I thought I saw that.
It said week one. Man, come on. Say it's going to be week one, but you don't say what the game is.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anyways, yeah, week 1 will be his last game.
Yeah.
It's
It's
gonna,
been an iconic part of our adult life. I mean,
and it's time.
yeah,
It,
he's struggled for several years now, and he's probably
he's
tired, and and Kirk has to carry him along a little bit. So
and good on Kirk. He's really, almost treated him like his father. It just kind of helped him through it,
mhm.
and been very attentive to him, which is kind of neat to watch that. But it just sucks seeing Corso get old and not be
It
able to
does, it does,
do it,
and
and now he's retiring, and it
I
feels
thought
like
it
a
was
part of our
funny.
young adulthood is dying.
It's where it goes. I mean, that's
Yep.
exactly where I go. I thought it was interesting that Reese Davis basically told Fox, and I guess Dan Orlovsky too, told Fox, leave your money bag. I'm going to stick where I'm relevant.
Yeah. I mean,
Smart.
yeah, exactly. Orlovsky does a good job. I've heard he's getting the axe several times, but he's still there.
Yeah. I mean, being the white guy on set, you're under threat
Well,
all the time.
the
To, but
Fox telecast,
but if you're
the
not Will
Fox,
Kane spouting conservative ideology, you're going to
well,
be pretty safe.
Fox dropped the ball when they didn't renew Bob Stoops and they brought Urban back because nobody likes Urban. I don't think Urban likes himself.
I didn't think Bob was that great on there either, though.
Yeah, it was still him and Peterson had a couple segments on there that were good. At
What
least
they
you could.
what they need to do is
They,
get rid of Brady Quinn.
yeah.
Brady Quinn
It's
is
just
just awful in all arenas.
maybe it's just me because every time I watch Urban Meyer on television, I just think of what a sleazy person he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I don't want
Well,
that on
I
my
thought it was
grid.
interesting. Reese decides to not make the mistake that Craig James made some decades ago. Stick with
Go after
where you're
Mike
relevant.
Leach.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so college football, man, it's I guess did you know anybody or hear anything about what anybody in person I saw online, but the spring combine down in Norman?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sean King went down there. I don't know that he went inside the stadium, but he said
Yeah.
it was a pretty bad atmosphere. There wasn't
Okay.
a whole lot going on in Campus Corner.
Well, that's what I mean. People can, you know, troll your fan base online and stuff about it and this that. But that's what it's good. That's the era we're in. You know.
Yeah, bring back the
Um,
spring game.
yeah. So we'll see how that happens. Hey, what about Rory McIlroy last Sunday? Almost choked it away, and then
You
still.
talk about a guy who did everything he could to lose a tournament in the
Yeah.
final round, but then pulls three or four of the greatest shots you're ever going to see in that tournament that Woods has won 4 or 5
Yeah.
times.
Well,
It's incredible.
I'm sitting
And
there.
and
What? Huh.
and Justin Rose being, coming out, and man, yeah, I don't really care for Justin Rose. He's kind of milk toast. He doesn't have much personality, but
He's
he
44. He sees his
yeah.
demise oncoming.
Well, he plugged along and hung in there, and then he's just sitting in the clubhouse, and then Rory pukes down his shirt on 17.
Yeah.
and
Well, and then
Hyberg,
on
yeah, hits the
18,
balls.
he hit a beautiful tee shot on 18, and he's in
Uh-huh.
great position. And all he's got to do, DeChambeau got his up on the green, and then Rory finds the sand, and then he
Yeah.
gets out of the sand with a good shot, but not great, and he's got a makeable putt, and just boom, and
Yeah. What do you do on 16, Chuck?
yeah, just
Yeah. All I can do is lay it up,
mhm.
preserve a one-shot lead. Nope, I'm gonna put it in the water.
Exactly. So it was a heck of a Masters, and last week's episode was titled "A Tradition Like Several Others," but it's always good. Now I'll say this: I had to DVR it and come back and catch the tail end, but by the time I got done with yard work, they were starting the playoff. So, but no, it was interesting. Some of the names that kind of trailed off at the end. I mean, DeChambeau had a terrible Sunday. Man, that guy, when he's on, he's Captain America. When he's off,
Oh yeah,
he spirals.
it's kind of like him and Kepka, kind of the same guy. You know,
They are, aren't they?
Kepka looks like an iron Byron out there, just firing, putting the ball wherever he wants to, same every time. But when he's
Yeah.
off, well, he's not going to grind it out.
Well, the RBC Heritage is going on today, or started yesterday. They're in South Carolina for that one on the PGA Tour. Believe, did we say Justin
Thomas is
Justin
a
Thomas
three-shot
was
lead
in
over
the
Mackenzie
lead?
Hughes, Russell Henley, and Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, so Scheffler probably is going to want to get his thing going pretty quick. He I don't think he was quite any factor. What's that thumbs up on your screen?
Huh?
I just saw a thumbs up pop up on your screen as I'm looking at you.
No idea.
Weird.
Yeah.
They're watching.
Yep.
AI, telling you.
That's right.
I left a comment on a Facebook page today, which I try not to do, but they picked movies from 1984. Which ones are best? And it was like Gremlins and Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, and maybe Freddy. I can't remember, but Terminator was on there, and I just commented. I picked Terminator because in essence it was a documentary.
That's right. We're gonna see it.
We're living in Skynet, pal. I'm telling you.
I saw some dude dancing with a robot in China, and the robot was getting down. Like, oh no. Oh
Wow.
no. When that thing becomes self-aware, we're gonna have our hands full.
Oh, it's there. I'm telling you. I saw the lights last night. I realized this.
That's right.
So this episode will be entitled Conspiracy Theories. Hey, be sure and go to lawdogsports.com and check out our previous episodes, any episode you want on demand, and subscribe here on our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports. And go back and check out our interview last week with Grant Merrill from T-Town Sports. That was a good one. We had a good time catching up with him and talking a little bit of Woo Pig Suey as well. So Grant with a definite pulse on Hog Nation there in northeastern Oklahoma. So one other thing, Jeremy, Connor Carr, he wants me to try to dig up some sort of outdoor segment here on the show. So
good luck with that. He's going to have to come on and
do that.
He's going to have to come on and be our subject matter expert.
That's what I said. I said I haven't killed anything since my junior year in high school, so I don't know where to.
Don't have time for that nonsense.
Huh?
I don't have time for that nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you. Here's the thing: the last time I went deer hunting was 1991 in the fall,
Ooh.
And I realized I don't have the attention span to be doing this. I sat there in the woods and I thought about every single thing besides what I might harvest that day, I need stimuli.
Yeah, no kidding.
The case. But anyways, anything else on the horizon you've got? I've kind of run out of my list here.
I got to go give the state of Oklahoma a bunch of money this morning, and
hey, buy a new truck, you pay the price, Pally.
I know.
Well, let's plan on getting out of here then. So this is, look who checks in here in the last minute. Dan Narva, belated hi, guys. Too much going on here today.
Dan, the aliens got him last night.
Michigan might need to be weather aware this weekend, I think, from what I saw of some of these storms. So Dan Narva up there, be sure. Mike Busso says would like to go hunting someday. Well, touch base with Connor Carr. He was out Turkey Woods this week. So, and that's another thing. Turkey hunting in the spring, there's so many bugs and critters. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you.
But hey, I'm all for the guys that do. I'm not Peter. I promise. All right. He's Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. This has been the Weekend Big Show. Be sure and subscribe to us on social media at Law Dog Sports on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Facebook, as well as follow us and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports. And then you can listen to these podcasts at your convenience on our pages, Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. And then also get all the links at lawdogsports.com. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.